my podcast people, and thank you for joining me for yet another episode of my favorite online business podcast. If you are tuning in, if you are listening, if you are watching, if you are Rupert, you're scratching me right now. If you're doing any of those things on the day that this episode drops, it is Monday, August 24th. Welcome to the last week of August. As per always, the time is flying. Today, we are going to zoom out. I think we did this last week as well, but we're going to zoom out again and chat about online business in general and the fact that there is nothing new. Right? And this is not a bad thing. This is not a nihilistic approach, not a fatalistic thought, but rather an observation that I'm making after being in this game for almost 12 years. And seeing a bunch of stuff. So the inspo for this episode, a few things. One, had a recent Mafia dinner last week, as of the time I'm recording this. And I reviewed the different launch types and discussed what I saw, quote unquote, working in the space. And my girl Kristen rolled through. It's been a while since she's been able to make it to a dinner. And she's been in the online business space for a minute. But like I said, life been life, and she hasn't been at dinner in a bit. And at the end of the meeting, she goes, this is great, right? It's great to know that it's the same shit. It's still the same shit. And she's right. Right? If you've been doing this for a bit, there is nothing new. If you've been learning from the right people, there's nothing new. And I say that because Kristen is also in Jill's ecosystem. And, she does strategy lab and things like that. And she's like, yeah, okay, this is a good reminder, great reminder of the stuff that I know, and it's the same shit. And I'm like, yes, it's the same shit. So where I think people perhaps get things mixed up is that there can be some new strategies depending on what stage of online business you're in. Who's here with me is Rupert. We're gonna keep rolling. We're gonna grab him. We're gonna move him over there. Okay. Depending on what stage of business that you're in, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced, and even with this, like what stage you're in, it's more so techniques, right? Things like order bumps and tripwires and expiring bonuses and self-liquidating offers and deadline funnels, right? And a lot of those things are honestly just largely dependent on technology, but there is not some super secret strategy out there that you only have access to if you pay someone, some business guru $11 billion. Right? That's not true. Right? The strategies of selling things, of launching offers, of making money, there's nothing new. Right? Foundationally, when it comes to selling, right, you have organic traffic, you got paid traffic. How are you getting these people? Where are they coming from? Right? When it comes to launching things, you got an open and close cart model, or whenever you got an evergreen model, right? Open and close cart, meaning you can only buy this thing between this day and this day, and then you can't buy it again until the next time it's open. Or evergreen, it's always available, right? But those are the two main buckets. That's it. We think about launch types. I think there's probably like 3 big launch types. There's a waitlist launch, right? You get people on a list, or interest list, whatever you want to fucking call it. Get people on a list and you sell to them. Sell to the people on the list. You have a lead magnet launch, where you have some sort of experience up front, whether it's live or recorded or whatever that experience is. It can be a challenge, whatever. It could be an email. That's fine. An email course. That's fine. Right? You have that experience, and then you sell to those people that have gone through that experience. Lead magnet launch. Or you have the direct sell, which is, here's this thing, buy it. Right? And you can combine those things. You can do them all at once, but that's it. Nothing else. There's no other way to launch besides that. And then when it comes to making money, I've said this on multiple episodes, you got 3 ways. Sell new stuff to old customers, sell old stuff to new customers, or sell new stuff to new customers. That's it. There's no other way. Right? You can mix and match all those things and combine them however you want, but that's it. There's nothing new. Right? So for those of you that are listening and you're like, oh, but what about the tech? You kind of mentioned the tech earlier. Again, this is largely dependent on where you're at in your business, but at its most foundational, you need an email service. I recommend Kit. Email marketing service. You need a payment processor. I recommend Stripe. And you need a calendar, scheduler, Acuity. Boom, you're done. That's it. I had a call I was on the other day, and I was teaching about sales pages. And one of the women was like, talking. She's like, I never made one. And I was like, that's dope. And I was like, how have you been selling? She's like, I just have a link in an email. And I'm like, great. That is all you need. You can start off with that. That's fine. Totally. And then we can layer things, but the reason that that someone's not selling is not because they don't have access to this super high tech or anything like that. Strategies remain the same, right? So we have that foundational tech stack. You want to up level a little bit, you go to Zoom. We all have that anyway, right? You can have if you want to host a webinar, workshop, or you want to do your client calls, cool, you got Zoom. You need a website, I'm going to recommend Squarespace. I use WordPress, but I would recommend using Squarespace. All right? You want to have courses, and that's down the road, Kajabi. Easy. Right? Simple, those are the foundational things, right? I'm going to plug actually a free resource that I have for those of you that are thinking about diving into the online business space, online business game, and you're like wanting to learn more about this foundation. The resource, it's 100% free. There is no upsell at the end. It's literally just a free 90-minute training. It's called Foundations and Fundamentals of Online Business. I made this because I was like, I got to get this shit out of my head. And also, like, I don't like seeing people get duped. I don't want people, and I don't want to coach people that are just kind of trying to figure things out. Like, go watch this. Decide if you want help. But, like, here's the foundation. Here's all the things that you need. All right. So we will drop that link in the show notes. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Jojo. But, you know, when it comes to foundation fundamentals, when it comes to coaching, and one of the things that I make the most emphasis on in this course, or in that training rather, and the thing that I see so many of these online courses or these like online business coaches, the thing that I see them leaving out is that if you want to launch something and have it be successful, you need an audience and you need demand. That's the most important thing. You need demand, right? I think that some of these marketers that kind of have you believe that there's something else out there, I think they kind of make it seem like they're going to teach you or sell you some sort of tech that will create demand. And that's just not the case, right? I think there's like 3 big things that contribute to demand. And one is the topic. So like, what is the thing that you're selling, teaching? What is your thing, your niche? Right? Second is the timing. When are you selling this thing? Is it something that is popular? And tying into that, is it trending? Are other people doing it? Right? So within the like topic umbrella, something that you may see, you know, because it does matter, like what is the thing that you are talking about? Some things, like they just have, you know, more population size that wants this, that desires that thing, right? So those are the 3 main things that I think most contribute to demand, right? And speaking of, another inspiration for this episode was this woman, Jessie Jean. She just did 2 launches. And I haven't followed them closely. I just, you know, seen them on threads and kind of peripherally. If you don't know who she is, that's fine, because I don't really know who she is either. I don't have nothing bad to say about her. But she created the Yap Challenge, and she just did 2 like massive launches. The first one was like $1 million or $2 million. And now the second one was like $7 million. I don't know. It's like massive at this point, multi-million-dollar launches. And I promise you that there's nothing new about what she did. Right? It was an open and closed launch. You can buy this course. You can enroll in this challenge between this and this date. She had a waitlist launch. I think maybe she did a lead magnet. I'm not actually 100% sure about that. But I would contend that this, the fact that there was nothing new to how she launched is actually part of why it worked. Right? Familiarity reduces friction. If you try to sell in some crazy way, people are like, what the fuck is happening right now? Less sales, right? Confusion. Right? In reality, when we see people have these massive launches, and Hormozy, and here's another example, right? The biggest differentiator are the circumstances surrounding the actual launch, right? The circumstances surrounding the situation. Jessie Jean, she's unassuming. She's making this thing, she's unassuming, number 1. Number 2, she's teaching B2B, right? She's helping people make money. Anytime you see like a massive launch of anything, you can assume it's probably helping people make money in some way, shape, or form. So that speaks to that necessity of having a topic, and like, what is that topic and how desirable is that topic? Within that, there's a thing called capability unlock. And when the thing you're selling makes something way easier, and suddenly there's like, people are like, oh, I can do this. That can increase demand. And that's what she did, right? She's like, I'm going to teach you how to build an audience online so you can make money online. And I'm going to put a name to it called yapping. I'm going to make this very like approachable and make it, you know, easier. Right? Nothing new here, but the circumstances around the launch really greatly helping and contributing to the success of the launch. Hormozy, how he looks. He has muscles. That appeals to men. A lot of people, that if men are going to buy it, they're like, yeah, I want to be like that guy. He has the David Goggins vibe of like, nobody cares, work harder. And that appeals to folks who have this desire to, have their effort directly influence the outcome, which is not the fucking case in online business. It's not true. Your effort is your effort and the outcome is the outcome. You hope that they're, somewhat correlated, but good luck, right? He's also teaching B2B. He's helping people make money. There's a third launch that you may or may not have heard of, and this woman named Callan. And I only heard about her because of Jill. Jill went to a mastermind and the person who runs the launch was there. And so Callan was not there. It was the person who runs her launch. But either way, it was a $17 million launch. And it teaches owners and founders and individuals how to use AI to run their businesses, right? And so when we think about why was this so successful, there was no new strategy in doing it. It was a shit ton of demand. She's the first to market, right? The timing is great. We are in a time when, the narrative is get on board with AI or get left behind, right? She's going B2B. She's teaching people how to make money. All of these things are on the topic and the demand that is there. That is what contributes the most to the success of the launch. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they all likely have a good product. I'm not shitting on them or their product, right? The price of entry is having a good product. But none of them did some crazy new, never before heard of launch and some crazy new, never before heard of launch style. And part of the reason I'm saying this because Callan uses a software called, FG funnels. I don't even know what it is, but I know she uses something else. And, I can see things on threads and I'm like, this is about to be the next thing of people being like, oh, this is the thing that made her a bazillion dollars. And it's like, it's not at all the thing. And apparently it is just a white labeled version of, I'm blanking on the name of the software, but software that folks be using in the clinic, as well. I am totally blanking on it. But either way, it is not some brand new thing that's never been heard of, that's never been done. It's not the reason for their success, right? There is nothing new. There's nothing that you're missing that is like, you've never heard of it. And this is the reason that you're not succeeding. And honestly, I think the majority of you that are watching this, you are experienced, you've been in the online space, you're super intelligent, and you likely know everything that I'm saying. But I also don't know everyone in this audience. I don't know everyone who listens or watches. And maybe there's a possibility that some of you are either new to the online business game or you're thinking about it. And honestly, I don't want you to get got. It comes down to that, right? There's nothing new. There are no magic bullets. There's no secret sauce that someone is hiding behind a $1 million mastermind, right? It feels very much like lifting and bodybuilding. My brain always goes to sport and things like that, right? And it's been really cool watching my guy Aaron Straker. You folks know I watch/listen to one podcast, and it's ETP, Eat Train Prosper. Aaron is one of the hosts, and he's been on a very serious bodybuilding journey. He turned pro, and he also built out a gym in Bali, seemingly the best gym in Bali, and he's been in charge of sourcing equipment. And so speaking to the equipment side of things, we have all these new gadgets and all this new type of equipment and these new machines. And he stays saying how the old stuff is just so fucking good. And it can be hard to find, but it's just so good. Right? Similarly, when it comes to the actual programming, we watch people experiment with weight training programs and bodybuilding approaches, right? A lot of these super young evidence-based guys, and they're only doing isometrics. And I immediately know from me, but you do you, boo. Right? But at the end of the day, it is the traditional approaches that continue to come out on top. Work really fucking hard, be consistent, and get your nutrition right. There's no magic bullet, no silver bullet, whatever the phrase is. Right? But bringing it back to online business, right? Again, I don't want to come off as nihilistic or fatalistic, especially for those of you who have been at it and you're like, maybe this thing is why, this online business thing isn't working for me. And I just want to, again, reiterate that the number one fundamental and foundational thing that needs to be there for traditional business success, be it online or in person, is demand, right? Not all niches are created equal. And social media, where the audience is going to be, where you're looking to establish that demand, right, is a game of luck. It's a game of aesthetics. It's a game of timing and topic popularity, right? And when I say aesthetics, I mean it's how you look. Right? That definitely plays a role in the things, right? What you're talking about, how you look, the timing of these things, right? So, why even bother paying a coach? That's a great question. You don't have to. You absolutely do not have to. But I think for those of you that are thinking about it, and this is not at all like a pitch for any coaching services, but just to like bring the episode full circle here. You pay for a coach for implementation, to teach you those basics and hold you accountable to them, to make you do the foundational things that you don't want to do. It's why I pay Steven, to play volleyball, because I'm like, I'm not going to fucking drill these things. The coach highlights your blind spots. The coach makes you do the things that you don't want to do. Like, I don't want to work on passing, but you fucking need to. The coach will make that approach specific to you. What do you actually need? For volleyball, it's like, I don't need to work on that, so I need to actually work on these few things. Okay, cool. Same for online business, right? The coach will make it specific to your niche, your values, your capacity. Right? Maybe you pay for a coach to be in a group with other people. That's part of the reason I pay for a volleyball coach. There's other people there. Right? Perhaps you pay for a coach, I see this a lot in the online space, to manage your expectations, because it's like so unknown and it's like secretive and like people just be fucking lying, and you're like, what should I be expecting? Like, am I doing well? Am I not doing well? Maybe you need someone to cheer for you. Right? You pay for a coach to lay out the steps for you in an achievable order and a sustainable cadence, right? But again, this is not a push for you to get a coach. By all means, don't get one. I don't care. I have that free training. Start there. This episode is simply my contribution to the Don't Get Got Fund. If you've been in the online space, if you've been listening to Jill, she's my number one rec. Right? If you've been listening to Jill, we can drop her podcast, Fit Biz You, in here. If you folks don't know who I'm talking about, I don't know how you don't know who I'm talking about, my best friend. But we'll drop her stuff in there. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, JoJo. Fun fact, Courtney also edits her podcast, Jill's podcast. But if you've been listening to Jill, if you've been listening to me, I promise you there is not some super secret approach that we haven't taught you, that we haven't talked about, and that's going to magically skyrocket your business, right? Pick the foundational things and double down, right? There's nothing new out there, and the most important factor is and always will simply be demand. All right, looking at the time, looking at the camera, that is all for today. You got questions, comments, concerns, additions, subtractions, thoughts, requests? Shoot me a message. It's such a unidirectional platform. I'm just talking to the beady eye of the camera. Hit me up on Instagram, Movement Maestro. Shoot me a text, 310-737-2345. Would love to hear from you. All right, officially going to wrap it up there. As always, endlessly, one more time, endlessly appreciative for every single one of you. Until next time, friends, Maestro out.